One morning, you forget why you walked into the room. Later, you cannot recall a name even though you just heard it. You sit down with a book like always, but the words do not stick. And you wonder, when did my mind stop feeling like mine? For many seniors over 60, this is the quiet fear that creeps in, but there is hope. If you watch this episode, you will uncover why your memory quietly chips away and the 5 physical brain tricks you can do to reverse this process. Welcome back to the Senior Health Podcast, where East meets West to help you stay strong, clear, and independent after 60. Now hear this. We often blame memory decline entirely on getting older. We joke about senior moments, but a major study from Tohoku University in Japan revealed what is actually causing those lapses. There is a physical change happening inside your head. The literal bridge connecting the left and right sides of your brain is weakening, and when that connection slows down, your memory slows down with it. When we miss that shift, we lose more than memory. We lose confidence. But this pattern can be completely reversed. And to help us understand exactly how to rebuild that bridge, sitting across from me is someone who has seen it for over a century and still practices medicine today, Japan's oldest physician. It is an honor, like always. Thank you. Now let me start by saying, memory loss is not a punishment. It is a message. Your brain is telling you that its two halves are no longer talking to each other efficiently. And the way we restore that communication is not by sitting still, but by moving the body in highly specific ways. So let's get straight to the point. When people think of improving their memory, they usually think of doing crossword puzzles or playing Sudoku. But today you are going to show us 5 physical movement tricks, right? Indeed, 5 tricks, and I saved the best one for the end. It's going to blow your mind. Okay, so how is moving our body going to fix our memory? To understand this, you need to picture the anatomy of your brain. Your brain is divided into 2 distinct hemispheres. The left hemisphere handles logic, language, and analytical thinking. The right hemisphere handles creativity, spatial awareness, and intuition. But these 2 sides do not work in isolation. They are connected by a massive bundle of nerve fibers called the corpus callosum. I want you to imagine this structure as a giant high-speed bridge spanning across a wide river, allowing cars to travel back and forth between 2 busy cities. So the left brain and the right brain are the cities, and the corpus callosum is the bridge that lets them communicate. What happens to this bridge as we get older? As we age, if we do not actively challenge our coordination, the lanes on that bridge start to close down. The communication between the left side of the brain and the right side of the brain slows down significantly. This is why you forget why you walked into a room or why you stumble when trying to step over an obstacle. Your brain is struggling to integrate information quickly. Doing a crossword puzzle only works one city. It does not force traffic across the bridge. The only way to rebuild the lanes on that bridge and generate new white matter is through specific challenging physical movements that cross the midline of your body. That makes perfect sense. We have to physically force the 2 sides of the brain to talk to each other to rebuild the connection. And that's what this episode is for. Okay, so where do we begin with this process? What is the very first exercise our viewers can do right now? We start with a foundational movement from a science called educational kinesiology. It is called the cross crawl. This movement is based on a very simple but powerful neurological fact. The left side of your brain controls the physical movement on the right side of your body, and the right side of your brain controls the physical movement on the left side of your body. By moving opposite limbs at the exact same time across the center of your body, we instantly force a massive surge of electrical activity across the corpus callosum. So we are basically sending a fleet of trucks across the bridge to force the toll booths to open up. How do we actually perform this first trick? Watch how I demonstrate it closely and repeat his movement. We are bringing our left elbow to our right knee by twisting our body, and then our right elbow to our left knee the same way. Lifting the knee and twisting the upper body to meet it seems to require a surprising amount of mental focus. I can imagine someone needs to actively think about which arm goes to which leg to maintain their balance. Having some hesitation is exactly the point. When you are a toddler learning to walk, this cross-body coordination is firing constantly. But as adults, we spend our lives walking in straight lines, sitting at desks, and staring at screens. We almost never cross the midline of our bodies anymore. The friction our viewers will feel at home is the literal sensation of the brain creating new neural pathways. I recommend doing this for 1 full minute every morning before doing our next amazing exercise. It wakes up the nervous system faster than a cup of strong coffee. That is a fantastic starting point. Let's take this a step further. What is the second trick we are doing today? The second trick is a movement that focuses on breaking your brain out of its motor pattern autopilot. When you do repetitive tasks, your brain goes to sleep to conserve energy. We need to introduce a task that is asymmetrical, meaning the two sides of your body are doing completely different things at different speeds. We will start with the wrists, which are highly connected to the motor cortex of your brain. Okay, breaking the autopilot. How do we do this asymmetrical wrist trick? Watch the screen closely. The demonstrator is simply holding both hands out in front of him and shaking his wrists up and down to get some fluidity. But here's the trick. You must force one hand to shake up and down twice as fast as the other hand. Watching the demonstrator, he makes it look incredibly easy. But I know if our viewers try this right now, the moment they speed up their right hand, their left hand is automatically going to try to match that exact same speed. The brain desperately wants them to move in perfect synchronization. Precisely. Your nervous system is designed for efficiency. It wants symmetry because symmetry requires very little brain power. By forcing one hand to move twice as fast as the other, you are actively denying your brain that lazy efficiency. You are demanding a high-level executive function and motor control. Practice this for 30 seconds, then switch, making the other hand move twice as fast. Just observing the coordination required makes you realize how hard the brain has to work, and I think we are ready to continue now. What is the third trick in this cognitive routine? Now, we take that concept of asymmetrical movement and apply it to a much larger range of motion using the shoulders and the arms. This is the opposite arm circle. It requires significant spatial awareness and will challenge your coordination even further. I am ready to see this. How does this trick work? Look at the demonstrator on the screen. He extends both arms in front. Then, we circle both arms forward for a few rounds just to get the feeling of symmetry. Then, backwards. Now comes the difficult part, where we want to circle the right arm forward while simultaneously circling the left arm backward. You are moving energy in two completely opposite directions at the exact same time. Just one question. I know from experience that when people try complex new movements like this for the first time, they often completely hold their breath. You have hit the nail on the head. That breath-holding phenomenon is something I see in almost every single patient who tries this. It is a fascinating neurological response. When your brain encounters a brand new, highly complex motor task, it diverts all of its energy to solving the coordination puzzle, and it momentarily forgets to tell your lungs to breathe. That is wild. The brain is so focused on the arms that it pauses a basic survival function. How do our viewers overcome that? You must consciously force yourself to breathe deeply through the nose while performing the circles. When you can do this smoothly while maintaining a relaxed breathing pattern, it means your brain has successfully built the new neural pathway. The task has moved from a state of conscious struggle to a state of integrated skill. Okay, everyone. We are getting very close to the final trick that actually builds new white matter. But doctor, before we get to that grand finale, what is the fourth trick we need to do to prepare our brain? Before we reveal the final builder, we must test the bridge. We use a classic neurological test that has been around for decades. It is the ultimate test of left brain and right brain integration. You have likely heard of it before. It is patting the head while rubbing the stomach. I remember trying to do that as a kid and failing miserably. How does this simple playground trick actually serve as a medical coordination test? Because it involves two entirely different types of tactile feedback and motor rhythms happening simultaneously. Watch the screen. You are asking one hand to perform a percussive tapping motion on your head, while asking the other hand to perform a smooth, continuous circular friction motion on your stomach. I can imagine most of our viewers trying this when their tapping hand turns into a rubbing hand, or their rubbing hand starts patting the stomach. The signals just get crossed in the middle. That crossing of signals is the traffic jam on the corpus callosum bridge we talked about earlier. The goal is to clear the traffic jam. Start very slowly. Establish the rubbing motion on the stomach first. Let that become rhythmic. Then very gently introduce a light tap on the top of the head. Do not rush it. Once you can hold both patterns for 15 seconds, swap hands and prepare to be frustrated all over again. This is the moment we have been building toward. Please pay close attention to this because it is the most important part of today's episode. Doctor, what is this final trick that actually builds new brain matter? The final trick is juggling. Now, do not panic. I'm not asking you to join the circus. But a famous study conducted at Oxford University proved something incredible. They took a group of adults who had never juggled before and had them practice for just a few minutes a day over several weeks. When they performed brain scans on these individuals, they found a significant physical increase in the white matter of the brains. The brain structure literally grew. That is astounding. Learning to keep objects in the air physically changed the density of their brains. But why juggling specifically? Because juggling forces you to use peripheral vision. When you look at a book or a computer screen, you are using hard focal vision. It is very narrow. In order to track three moving objects in the air, you cannot look directly at any single one of them. You have to soften your gaze, look straight ahead, and let your peripheral vision track the movement. Expanding your peripheral vision relaxes the nervous system and dramatically improves your ability to take in larger blocks of information. I love the science behind this, but the reality is, if I hand 3 bouncy tennis balls to a 65-year-old, they are going to spend the entire afternoon bending over and chasing them across the living room floor. That sounds exhausting and potentially bad for the lower back. How do we make this safe and accessible? That is the most important part of the protocol. We must modify the environment for safety. So I set 2 rules for that. Rule number 1, do not use bouncy balls. You will go to your bedroom and find 3 pairs of thick socks. Roll each pair up into a tight, soft ball. Socks are perfect because when you drop them, they land with a thud and stay exactly where they fall. That solves the chasing problem completely. What about the bending over? Rule number 2 is the standing position. You will never juggle standing in the middle of an empty room. I want you to stand with your thighs pressed directly against the edge of a high dining table or the back of a tall couch. When you drop the rolled up socks, they will simply fall onto the table right in front of your hands. You will never have to bend your spine or your knees to pick them up. That is a brilliant setup. It completely removes the frustration of dropping the objects, which means people will actually practice. So, we have our socks and our table. How does someone who has never juggled before actually begin? You begin with a simple visualization. Imagine a large square box floating in the air right in front of your face. The top 2 corners of that imaginary box are what I call the peaks. You will start with just 2 rolled up socks, 1 in each hand. The goal is to throw them in an X pattern hitting those 2 peaks. Okay, looking at the demonstrator, he is holding his 2 balls and looking straight ahead at his imaginary box. What is the throwing sequence he is following? Watch his rhythm. He throws the first ball. When it reaches that top corner peak in the air, that is his exact visual cue to throw the second ball. It is a highly specific rhythm. Toss, toss, catch, catch. I can see how waiting for that peak is the secret. Watching the demonstration, his rhythm is perfectly controlled. That is correct. Once you can do that with 2 socks without dropping them, you simply hold 2 socks in your right hand and 1 in your left. You toss the first sock. When it hits the peak, you toss the second. When the second hits the peak, you toss the third. You never stop. It becomes a continuous flowing loop that lights up your entire brain. Amazing trick to end the video with. Everyone hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with a friend who wants to keep their brain sharp and their memory strong. We will see you in the next episode, and make sure to watch this next episode. Oh, this is a good one. People should see this. Watch. See you there.